So in this video, I'm going to show you how I took that inspiration of being at the water's edge and created this art piece using acrylic paint pouring that I then embellished with some sea glass and other beach treasures like rocks and shells. I really hope you enjoy this one. All right, here I am. I'm ready to take on a larger acrylic paint pour. I've only done really small pieces up to now, and this is a board. It's a piece of wood that I painted white and then I painted brown around the bottom and blue around the top because I just thought the white paint won't show through if I miss a few tiny little spots. And I'm going to create my water's edge. That's my plan anyway, to create the water's edge and then to put a bunch of sea glass and beach paraphernalia down here just to remind me of what it's like when I'm walking along the water's edge. So I am going to do the sand first. And I have three colors here. I have a yellow ochre, and I'm going to put these into a cup. And then, because I'm thinking that will give me the good effect that I want. Oh, sorry, I didn't tell you my other two colors. I should put it up here so you can see it. So I'm layering yellow ochre, forgetting that I'm actually teaching people something here. And I'll have some brown. This is just regular brown, nothing fancy about it. And gold. These three colors here. So there's two layers of those, and I think I will leave it at that, and if I need more, I've got more in my cups here. So I'm going to do the sand first, and I want it, my goal is to try to get some ripples in the sand. You know, you get those ripples in the sand as you're walking along the beach. So we'll see how this works. And I want this to go up a little ways. Get everything out of here. I think that might have been enough paint. It's quite a bit here. Wow, those three colors are mixing together really cool. I'm hoping this gives me a really nice sandy effect. All right. So I'll set that aside for now. Now I'm going to tilt it a little bit. Because I want those lines in the sand to interact a bit. Thought I'd go for some interesting dynamic sand here. There's something freeing about learning a new thing. It doesn't matter if it's not right. You can, especially with painting, you can paint over it. You can just say, that's all right, I'm just learning. But when I saw this one, I was really excited to give it a try because it just reminds me so much of walking along the edge of the beach. And edge of the beach walking tends to be one of my favorites. I find more sea glass along the edge than I do up further on the beach. And it's easier to spot it when it's near the edge because the water has been lapping in and makes the sea glass wet. So I tend to hang out mostly along the tide line. This is pretty cool. I like what I'm seeing. I had a little clump in that brown and just ran off the edge. No problem. I don't think I needed to paint that edge. It's all getting covered with paint, with the acrylic pour. I might let that sit for a few minutes. I'm just going to turn it around here. Don't want to fuss too much with it. turn it around here so now you're not looking at it upside down. I am. But this way I can do the water bit. That's quite the interesting beach I've got going. Okay, I think that's been sitting long enough. Now I want to put white right along the edge. Might just scooch this a tiny bit because I don't want this to get mixed up too much with my white. Just going to push it. I should have put the white down first, but I was so excited to get going on the sand I kind of forgot about that step. Again, I'm just learning. Now I'm going to put a fairly generous pour of white all along the edge here, back and forth. Now for all my blues and greens. So, my blues and greens. This is the water. Nothing fancy here. I'm just going to do a bunch of free pouring. This is phthalo blue. All right. And this is my turquoise. I like to see the day when I do water without turquoise. Don't hold your breath. Now, this is a phthalo green. That is such a beautiful green. And next we have cerulean blue. So this is a lighter blue. Wow, I'm getting lots of paint on here. I don't think I have to worry about being short on paint for this project. And last but not least at all, this aqua green is amazing. This would be providing a little bit more light to my water. So, I know what you're thinking. Jackie, all you've got there is a mess of paint. Well, that's what it looks like at the moment. I hope it doesn't stay that way. Let's see. Now what I'm going to do here is a swipe. And we will see if it works. I am hoping it does. I think before I swipe, I'm going to push some of this down a little closer to the white. I don't know if this is going to make any difference. We shall see. All right. All right, so I've got a piece of stiff plastic, just a piece of scrap plastic, and I'm going to do a swipe. So I put that down, and then I'm going to swipe the white up over all these colors. Now I'm going to do this side. I think this is only good. I forgot to use the clean side of the swiper. Use the dirty side of the swiper. It's okay. I'll just swipe again. So then they're kind of even. Alrighty. Look at that. So cool. Okay, I think this line is just a little bit too even Steven. So I think I'm going to do a couple of little swipes like this, just to see if that adds some interest here. Let's just see what happens. I don't want to scrape too much paint off, but I think I might be able to get some interesting details coming up here. A little cautious about trying to do too much and ruin what I have, because look at what I've got going on here. Gotta be careful. Oh, you might be thinking, Jackie, you've ruined it. It was so perfect, because it was really interesting. Let's just wait and see what happens here. The other thing I wouldn't mind seeing is a little bit of bubbles in the water, right at the water's edge. So I think I'm going to blow a bit with the straw. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. Anyway, I think I'll just let that sit for a bit and see what happens. The only other thing I'd like to do is to put the torch to it just for a second, just to see if that brings out any little bubbles or anything that might be going on underneath the paint. Might create a bit more interest. So if you're looking at what to use for materials for this, I'll put a materials list in the description down below. But here I am again using some scraps. I've used scrap wood, and I've got a great collection of paints here. I'll list the paints that I've used. Wow. Very cool. Let me let that sit for a bit, and then I will get back to you and show you what it has turned into, and then what do I decide to do to embellish it with sea glass and sea treasures. All right, this is so amazing. I don't know if you can tell from the video, but this gold paint has just made all this shimmery gold going through the sand. I just love it. So I have my kitchen and bath adhesive caulk, quick seal, and I'm going to glue on a bunch of beach treasures to represent the water's edge. To me, it's pretty obvious that this is the water's edge. So putting some beach treasures on certainly fits. So I'm going to put a few shells on. I have these tiny little shells that are blue and purple, but the purple is mostly on the inside. So I just think they're so cool to place like that so you can see the purple in them really clearly. Just love those. So this is me walking along the edge of the water. I have to put in a holy rock, a hagstone. So to me, the symbolism of the hagstone is that it represents good luck. So we got to have some good luck here. I have one piece of blue I'm going to put on here because when you're walking along the water's edge, for me, I don't find a lot of blue. Don't find a lot of pottery with pattern on it either, so I'm going to put one of those on. And I have some white pieces of sea glass I'll arrange here. Gotta have a few green. Let me get a few more green off my pile of green over here. Gotta have a few of those. And a few black pebbles too. I think I'll just put these on here and then decide where I want them all to be. This is a really typical PEI rock that has kind of brown or red sandstone and white in it. I love those. So I'll put that in there. And one of these shells that has some purple on it. And some pebbles. Got to have a little arrangement of pebbles here and there, because we get that on the beach. My favorite beach has a lot of gravel. I love the gravel. So cool. So I'll put some really pretty beach stones on. One of my favorite things about walking along the water's edge is that just where the water is coming in on a sunny day, I find all these tiny brown bits of sea glass. I love brown and I love the tiny bits, but my favorite is on a really hot day in the summer. Just walking along the edge of the water, and as the sun's getting a bit lower in the sky, it will pick up these little brown pieces. And I can't even walk. I'm so busy spying little pieces of brown sea glass. So I'm going to put quite a few of those right along the water's edge. And another one of my favorites is petrified wood. So I'm going to put one little piece of petrified wood in here. And petrified wood, what happens on a sunny day, there's little bits of crystallized matter in there, I guess. And the sun reflects off it and it shows up really good. So one little piece of petrified wood in there really adds to the story of being at the water's edge. Okay, I have to be really careful here not to overdo it. The paint is so cool, and I don't want to put on too many treasures that it covers up the paint and all the detail going on there with the way the paint pour worked. So I think I'll leave it at that. Maybe after I look at it for a while, I'll fuss with it a bit more and add a few things or take a few things away. That's the beauty of living with something for a bit. You can always make some changes. So my lesson of the day for this video is that your art piece does not have to be perfect to be really interesting, because I think this piece is really interesting, but it is far from perfect. One of the things I've noticed as I was putting the sea glass on, there's a number of little clumps here. So then one of my paints must have been a bit clumpy and I didn't see it until it dried, so I didn't get the clumps out of it. There's a sign that I should have stirred my paint a lot more. The other thing is that I would have preferred to have my sand line a little bit lower on the piece. And another thing I noticed is there's a spot right up here where I didn't get the paint rolling off the edge of the canvas. So I was glad I painted the edge blue, because you can see the blue underneath there. So it's not perfect, but I still think this is such an interesting piece. So thanks so much for joining me for this video. I hope you found it really interesting, and I hope maybe you learned from it, or you at least got inspired to think about the beach. So hope you make it out to the beach, and until next time, happy sea glass hunting.